Not one vote's been cast yet. And votes will be, people will be making their minds up right until the time that they vote, whether they vote by post or whether they vote going to the polling stations. And what I'm saying is that, until people actually have, the polls have closed, that's when it will be decided. It suits both the SNP and the Liberal Democrats to present it as a two-horse race. I think Shetlanders and people in Orkney as well may have a different opinion of that.
So you're more than just a paper candidate?
Absolutely.
So are you canvassing here today? Are you going around knocking on doors?
Yeah, we've been out visiting local businesses and local representatives. We were with the Shetland Fishermen's Association and this morning and having a good meeting with them after I signed the Scottish Fishermen's Federation's Brexit pledge. And we've got a number of meetings kind of lined up over the next this afternoon and tomorrow as well.
Do you plan to visit the food bank?
I haven't got any plans for this visit, but I'm more than happy to visit the food bank if they'd like to see me.
It's been, obviously it's been an issue that's come up time and again, and I just want to ask you a bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, I wonder if you agreed with Theresa May's views about food banks, that I think the quote that was taken from her were many complex reasons why people, and I think it was nurses in this instance, are having to resort to using food banks.
Well, I don't think it's just Theresa May who said that there are many complex reasons. I think actually all the evidence, because it's not just a question of one person's opinion here and there. There are studies into food bank usage and why they've grown. There are a number of different reasons why food bank usage across Scotland and across the United Kingdom has increased.
But it boils down at the end of the day, people are hungry, and very often when you ask the organisers behind these food banks why are they coming, the answer comes back. It's a cut in benefits perpetrated by the Tories.
I don't think that's always actually is the case, and there are a number of reasons why people find themselves in the situations that they need to use food banks. It sometimes can be simply that they have large bills or large expenses that come in at a time that is difficult financially for them. And I think to find a solution to food banks and to the problems that people face, we actually need to look at the real reasons behind them, and I don't think that can be done in what is essentially a political atmosphere.
Okay, food banks, everyone will agree they provide a great service, but would all like to be rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
If you are elected to Orkney and Shetland, what will you do to see an end to food banks?
Well, I think one of the areas that we can all agree on are the areas where perhaps during the when people are receiving benefits, the sanctioning of people who are receiving benefits for certain misdemeanors or are not attending meetings or things like that. I do think we have to look at that and make sure that people who are obviously reliant on benefits are receiving money from the state to support them and support their children. We do need to make sure that if there are sanctions taken against them, it is very much a last the last cause or last recall. We can't have people being denied the money that they need to survive to pay their bills simply because of one-off misdemeanors. We do have to look at that, but let's do that from a non-political position. Let's do it because we all think it's right. And there are issues around this that in terms of expensive housing that cause people who are on benefits to have larger housing bills. Food, obviously, heating is another one which is particularly relevant up in the Northern Isles. But there are other issues around, and it's not just people who are receiving benefits, as you said rightly, who are using food banks. There is pressure on people across. People who are working as well. So let's look at this as an issue, but let's do it from on the basis of let's try and find a solution rather than using it as a political kind of stick to hit the government with.